Apple and Google just dropped some pretty big AI news, and it could finally be the turning point for Siri. Apple has officially confirmed that it is partnering with Google to use Gemini as the foundation for future Apple Intelligence features, including the next generation of Siri that is expected to roll out later this year. This comes after Apple spent years working on its own large language models and then ran into delays trying to bring in a more advanced conversational Siri to market. After evaluating multiple options, Apple says that Google's Gemini models were the best fit to help move things forward. Now, Apple is being very clear that this does not mean Google suddenly has access to your personal data, which they probably do in some way, shape, or form if you use any Google services, but that's not the point. These features will still run through Apple's on-device processing and private cloud compute, which means Apple controls how and where the data is handled. From Apple's perspective, this is about pairing Google's AI capabilities with Apple's hardware, software, and privacy standards, rather than just handing everything over to Google, which a lot of OEMs do. They just implement Google Gemini into the phones, and then you decide whether you want to use it. Now, the real interesting part here is what this actually means for Siri and Apple Intelligence going forward. According to reports, the Gemini-powered Siri is expected to be far more conversational and capable than what we have today. Instead of short, rigid responses, Siri should be able to handle more natural back-and-forth conversations, answer general knowledge questions more accurately, and provide longer, more detailed explanations when you ask for them. There is also talk that Siri could become better at storytelling and contextual responses. That might sound a little vague, because it is, but the idea is that Siri would no longer feel like it's just pulling a single sentence from a database. Instead, it could generate more complete answers that feel closer to how a human would explain something. Just think along the lines of any kind of chatbot, ChatGPT, obviously Google Gemini itself. That's a really good example since that's what they're using. But along with that, reports suggest Siri may be able to offer more emotional aware responses, which could make it feel less robotic when you are asking for advice or help, especially in stressful situations. Another big area of improvement could be real-world task handling. Siri has, to say the least, always struggled when requests get even slightly complex. With Gemini behind it, Siri could potentially help with planning things like trips, booking reservations, or walking you through multi-step tasks without breaking down halfway through. This is something that competitors have been pushing hard on, and it is an area where Apple has clearly been behind. And so hopefully this will help bring things up to where everybody else is in terms of standards. Content creation is another place where this new Siri could shine. Reports suggest Siri may be able to generate things like notes, recipes, or structured text directly inside Apple apps based on simple prompts. That fits perfectly with Apple Intelligence as a whole, where the assistant understands not just what you are asking, but where you want the result to live. And then there is the deeper system-level intelligence Apple has already teased in the past. This includes understanding personal context, being aware of what is on your screen, and pulling information from apps like Mail, Messages, Calendar, and Maps to make more complex questions easier for Siri, and also to make things more personal and obviously aware of what you like personally. Instead of manually checking multiple apps, you could just ask Siri one question and have it connect the dots for you. Looking even further ahead, this Gemini partnership could unlock even more advanced features across Apple's platforms. Things like proactive suggestions based on your habits, smarter multimodal interactions that understand both text and visuals, and stronger voice control experiences, which is something that I really want this new version to have. With devices like Apple TV and the HomePod all becoming more realistic with a more capable AI model underneath. At least let's make the smart home features a little bit better with Siri. I don't know, just start there and then work your way up. Apple has not confirmed exactly which features will arrive first or how fast they will roll out, and they probably shouldn't do that until things are ready to go, but the direction is clear. This is Apple making a very practical move to close the AI gap while still keeping control over the user experience and, of course, privacy. If everything goes as planned, this could finally be the Siri upgrade people have been waiting for, and it could refine what Apple Intelligence looks like across iPhone, iPad, and Mac going forward. Now, Apple first previewed its own version, or what they had come up with, for personalized Siri back at WWDC 2024. And obviously, it's not here, and we had to go through a lot of wait for this to happen. And the revamped assistant is now finally expected to launch as part of iOS 26.4 in March or April. However, according to recent reports, some capabilities will probably not arrive until iOS 27. But Would love to hear from you and your thoughts on this partnership. Personally, I think this is what Apple should have done from the very beginning. I assumed it would have purchased an up-and-coming AI company. Maybe OpenAI was probably out of its, price range unless they got in super early. But, I think of other assistants like Claude, or there was another one that got pretty popular a while back, and they could have just purchased that company and implemented its tech into Siri. But this is also just a next best option since Google has, Google at its resource to be able to implement into Gemini. So it is definitely a lot further ahead than some others. And if you're using this the way Apple wants to use it with, the ability to pull from all the information that it needs, Google is a very good fit for that. And also, if they're able to keep the privacy thing in order, I think this is a great partnership. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our videos, especially when this becomes available. We'll obviously be going hands-on and giving you all the details. And yeah, we'll catch everyone in the next video.